Welcome back to another instalment of New Zealand's Bird of the Week, where in this video I will be talking about the black swan. Swans that, while being introduced, also naturally colonised New Zealand around the same time. I hope you enjoy. Large water birds, black swans are among the most distinct of their group, having a full dark body and a distinct bright red bill, which makes them stand out a great deal. They are most often seen floating around in open bodies of water, with them otherwise on land being slow and ungainly, also having powerful but laboured flight. Getting up to 140 centimetres in length and weighing up to 9 kilograms, they also have among the largest necks proportionately of any other swan species. They are entirely herbivorous, mainly eating submerged freshwater plants, sometimes coming to graze on grass on land when their preferred aquatic plants are unreachable or scarce. Breeding-wise, birds will breed alone together or amongst a larger colony, with only about 1 in 5 of a given population nesting in any given year, and no more than a third of the birds at a breeding area attempting to nest, since sometimes birds skip years. They construct their nests out of nearby plant material, usually rushes, and then laying them out in piles, lining them with down. These nests, if well built, can be up to nearly 2 feet in diameter and up to a metre high, with them being able to be reused each year when needed. Both parents will share the care of the nest, with them laying about 5 or 6 greenish white eggs, taking about 5 weeks to hatch. The hatchlings are led to the water within the first 24 hours of hatching, with them being tended to for about 9 months until they go their own way. An estimated 1/4 of all known pairings of these birds are also known to be gay, this mostly being seen in males, with them sometimes stealing nests or forming temporary threesomes with females to obtain their eggs before driving them away to rear them themselves. Before people arrived in New Zealand, a related species of black swan, which will be covered in a later instalment in the series, lived in the country, which was a fair bit more robust than the living birds, and had reduced wings, which seems to indicate that, like many birds here, were on their way towards flightlessness before becoming extinct after Maori arrived. Some of the living black swans were introduced as game birds from Australia in the 1860s, but at the same time, numbers increased far quicker than expected, which seems to be a sign that coincidentally, birds were actually arriving independently at the same time from Australia, and so they are classed as self-introduced natives for this very reason, which was helped greatly by the clearing of native forests here. About 100 years later, birds were known to number well over 100,000, and there are about 70,000 on Lake Ellesmere alone. The massive 1968 Wahine storm, however, destroyed much of their feeding habitat there, and they crashed to a low of 10,000, not having recovered to their earlier highs since. Another view brought up by the Fish and Game Council was that from the 1970s onwards, the silt runoff from nearby farms would have killed off the water plants that they depended on. The birds that survived then began to eat the grass on the nearby farms, which led to large culls until the numbers eventually settled to match the now depleted conditions. Today, while the numbers are lower and while having about 5,000 being shot each year in the hunting seasons, they are partially protected otherwise and so are still doing well in spite of these pressures. And with that, I thank you for watching this instalment of New Zealand's Bird of the Week. For next time, you're now able to vote for the little penguin, the most common penguins found around New Zealand's mainland, and are, well, the smallest species of penguin. With that, I'll see you next time, whenever that may be.